Greetings, this is Vane, and I hope you enjoyed the Sims Episode 1 recap content that took place over the festive period. The reason for that is quite simple. This is the first episode of Series 2, which is going to be based on a challenge household. Which basically, because The Sims has no real beginning or end, breaking down into discrete player goals, things that you want to do, is a great way to play the game. And as you saw in Series 1, for example, taking a sim from the lowly house down here, which Mark the Bachelor is straight in, going up through the houses and putting in the pre-made families until the Freeman family gets into the mansion at 2 Sim Lane, is just one example of that. I mean, continue playing these families as much as you want because there is no end. But sometimes you want more of a challenge. And that's what we're going to be doing here. Okay, so first let's create a new challenge family and I'll explain what the challenge is. Okay. Challenge is quite simple. We are going to create a full household of 8 Sims. Now you know that even in our most crowded household there has only been 4, so it's having to control 8 and is going to be quite hard, and then we're going to do a few things that is going to make it harder. For a start, going to have 5 guys, and each one is going to have an extreme positive trait. So, for example, this sim is a Virgo. He's going to be extremely neat. Fastidious. Okay, now can be fun writing little bios for this. My idea for the family is that these are all people that they've met enough to form a household and decide that they're going to do this challenge together, but they're not related in any way. So their relationships within the household can go up and down and be all over the place. And we will be spending more time watching what they do and trying to get a stable environment for them than actually trying to control them. And you'll see why when we get there. And I thought, well, these are all, if we for the bios for the guys, they're all going to have basically they're going to have broken upbringings, tragedies and traumas in their life, and this is basically that, which explains why they're the way they are. For example, Fastidious, I came up with the idea that Fastidious is a germaphobe. That's someone who's afraid of germs, and therefore wants everything to be clean and tidy as much as possible. And the reason for this was that he had a younger sister growing up who died of a cold, and it seemed like a common cold, sneeze and whatever. It became worse, went to pneumonia or whatever, And since then, Fastidious has been a germaphobe. So we're going to write this quick bio. Simple common cold. I mean, I thought it's kind of apt at this time because, I mean, with the concerns over COVID, for example, having that sort of storyline coming into here would be quite interesting. I thought so. We're going to look and do something that makes it. I mean, there's not a lot of options when you come to creating Sims. I do like the tie. Tie is good. I mean, be like that, but the pen protectors, yeah. I mean, obviously, wearing something like that would not be fastidious at all. I mean, for anyone who's interested, fastidious just literally means tidy and particular. So we're going to go with you. See if I can give you a decent head to go with that. We're going to go with you. So, that's our first sim done. Fastidious. Okay. Next up, we have a sim who is outgoing. And his name is gregarious, which basically means chatty, friendly, socially dependent, stuff like that. Basically, they crave the attention, and they're very good at it because that's their drive. And the reason for gregarious is Gregarious was an orphan. Okay. Surrounding, no, it's surrounded. So there we go. Gregarious was raised in a children's home. It was always surrounded by other children, or just other unfortunate children. But was never, I'm going to replay, was never able to discover anything about his own missing parents. I put missing rather than dead. They may exist, they may not. It don't really matter, but it just gives a little bit of a backstory, kind of context to the character, and it can be interesting to see this sort of thing. I don't kind of do this with every sim, but I mean, normally there's no need to actually do the bio because the bios don't make any difference, but it's just for my own privilege and for those who want to get more sense as we watch this series and get in this channel. Now, I tend to go, let's see, gregarious. We could have you, or we could have you. I mean, do we go with... Let's go with you, I think. Okay. Gregarious. Okay, our third sim. Active. Okay. And his name will be Frenetic, which literally means active, always on the move, always going, always doing. And often quite fast and vigorous. And the idea that I've come up with for this is that basically parents couldn't cope with him and he was sent to boarding school, a military school. So now, for those that don't know, because I've not experienced, if you fail, if a child drops out of school because their grades become an F for too long because of a bad mood, they get sent away to military school. They are essentially banished from the game. They might as well be dead, because that is a failure state, and that is why we're going with the military school approach for Frenetic. Basically, he failed in school because of whatever and got banished to military school. Okay. finally, to finish off what we're going with at the story for Frenetic, from going to military school, he wasn't just banished and never saw again. He actually joined the army at a very young age, the armed forces at a very young age as a youth cadet, and basically is fresh out of boot camp. Doesn't have, and he's looking for something to do. He's not gone through boot camp as an adult, which it might still be a possibility for him should he take up the military career, for example. Here, part of military school is about drilling in discipline because of his activities, and he ended up going through as a youth cadet, as a teenager. So he's been trained, disciplined, drilled, and basically bulked up. And then as he's become an adult, he's essentially been discharged. His tour of duty, as it were, is over. And to go with that storyline, we're basically going to make him look like he's got a buzz cut. He's basically a military grunt in athletics. I mean, there's plenty of things he could do, so there's plenty of opportunities, some of which might suit him, some of them might not. But we'll get to that later. Okay. So that's Frenetic. Next up, we have Playful. This is my favourite. It's going to be another Taurian. And he's called Jovial, however you want to pronounce it. Now, for Jovial, I've decided he's been raised as in a strict family. And basically what happened is he was denied many of the opportunities as a child to have fun. So upon becoming an adult, he's just gone off the rails. And ultimately he's become a bit of a punk or a rebel. So, I said we put this Jared gone off the. Okay. Now, it's implied because The Sims doesn't really do with a lot of dodgy adult themes and issues. And to be honest, I think that makes it kind of better, in my opinion. So basically I'm going with the implied drug and alcohol abuse, sexual hedonism, and stuff like basically he's gone off his head. And it turns out that he enjoys it. Because his life is all about having fun. So, I mean, we won't specifically see, or hopefully we won't specifically see, like, lots of sex and drugs and alcohol, because these aren't actually covered in The Sims, but it's that sort of lifestyle as opposed to the straight-laced going to work, raising a family kind of upbringing that The Sims tends to encourage through gameplay. And as you can see, he looks a bit like, well, he's a bit like a punk, I think. Got a nice little tattoo on his old rocking levers, and he's got red hair. Okay, finally, we have Clement. Basically, Clement means nice and welcoming, and is the opposite pretty much of inclement, which is inhospitable. Now, what I went with here for Clement's Tower of Tragedy is that he was raised by his mother, who was a single parent, and had a string of abusive stepfathers, male role models, that type of thing. And what this has done has made Clement determined that he's not going to be like them. That he's not going to be abusive. And therefore he actively strives to be nice and to care about people and so forth. So, Okay. Basically, what we're going with here is, yeah, kind of left his mum. He's grown up. I mean, some of these look old, some of these, because there's not really age in The Sims. You're either an adult or you're not. You know? See if I can find decent. And go with you and Lophus. Yeah. So basically, Clement is striving to be the best that he can be. Okay. Now, having got 5 men with extreme traits, decided to round out the. I'm going to round out the household with 3 women. Now, it's not particularly important, but I want them to be balanced. There's no easy way to kind of. There's no easy way to kind of tinker with the point in a sort of balanced way. That wouldn't see me kind of, okay, I'll make one slightly more outgoing and one playful. That wouldn't feel like odd and sort of forced. And being balanced helps them to serve, because I mean at the basic level, having 5 or more points in a trait tends to make you moderate in that trait. So anything less than 5 for in playful, for example, you'd be considered the opposite of playful, which is serious, and you'd favour serious activities. Whereas the more as you put more playful in, you are going to be more enjoying the playful activities, and as such, have been completely balanced down the line. Although they can go either way, they kind of serve as peace brokers in the household. I noticed that there are 3 skin palettes, so I'm going to do one of each skin. It doesn't make any difference whatsoever other than changing the options. And it's very rare that I find a reason to go with darker skin tones unless, you know, I just feel with it, because it literally doesn't make any difference at all whatsoever. So, and because I'm white, I'm more inclined, and white is the default it starts on, I just tend to go with white till I've run out, and then I'll go to a different one. So I'm going to make a genuine point that just to add some diversity to this family and show off some of the clothing options, I'm going to do different skin tones. In terms of personality, they're all going to be exactly the same. They're all going to be cancers that are entirely balanced. and that makes naming them somewhat awkward. But I did come up with an idea. I decided that I am going to name them after my late partner. Anyone who's seen my Patreon or listened will know that 7 months ago my partner passed away unexpectedly, and that resulted in big changes, and this is still part of the kind of the grieving process, as it were, trying to find some suitable tribute and try and come to terms with the change that's brought. And sounds stupid, but when I played The Sims, I wouldn't necessarily include my partner in my games. As you say, I created Vane to start as a singleton and to create a family to go up, and I did not include my partner Sean at all. Sometimes when I do a household in some of the later games, I've included her so that we could be a partner, or so that we could be partners, or we've started as a couple. But in my mind, because of the escapism of The Sims and the storytelling, you know, it's always about what ifs. And as much as I would like to create Sean in The Sims, it doesn't really seem appropriate to actually have Sean as a sim. So rather, I'm just gonna use her name to give to for these 3 women. Okay. Let's have a look and see what I want. I'll go with you. I'm not going to bother with a bio for these, but I'll do an epitaph that will be exactly the same for all 3, so that there is kind of memory. She's been forever immortalised in my game. It's the least I can do, basically. Okay. Sean, Rhiannon James, 79, 2020. Rest in peace. There we go. That's simple, because I haven't really got any story or anything, and there's not really any sort of justification going on with the character here at all. These are just to fill out the numbers, as it were. So, that's Sean. Okay, so Rhiannon. Let's have a look, see what you've got. I think it's the same set of costumes. It's not costume, clothing outfit. So I mean, for example, I like that. That's good colour, because that is a sort of colour that Sian would have wanted. She would have appreciated. So $17.97, no, $19.79. I mean, it stops it from being blank. It puts something in there, and I think it's a. Well, people would think it was stupid, but people who know me, the fact that I'm immortalising her by naming one of my, one of the Sims in my Let's Play series, would basically, she couldn't have asked for anything better if I was to organise it. You know? So, there we go. And after my life, Miss Sean, Rhiannon James. And after my late partner, Miss Sean, Rhiannon James. It's just because it's going over. But that is our family. That is the family done. So, we've created the challenge family. Yep, we are done. And now, even though we've got 8 members in this household already, we still only start with 20,000 simoleons. And we get to move them in. Now, there's 4 lots at left here. But what we're going to do is to make it even harder. We're going to go for the one that's going to give us the most room, but it costs the most money. So we won't have a lot of money to start with. Do you want to buy this house? Yes. Okay, so we're going, this is us. Start here. We've got absolutely nothing here. I'm going to save it here as it comes under 42 minutes. You've seen the family, you've seen the, and I'm just going to explain basically what the challenge is going to be about. I mean, basically, I want to create a house from scratch. It's going to have every single room in it. I switch to buy mode for a second. You'll see not only do you get sorted by function, but if you click on it again, you can get sort by room. So you can see what they decide should be in a living room, what goes in a dining room, bedroom, study, kitchen, bathroom, outside, miscellaneous, etc. We're going to have every single one of those rooms eventually in this house, at least. We will be aiming to give each an individual room. So there will be there will be 8 bedrooms in this house, as well as the communal areas. That's the plan. In terms of decoration, the idea is that it will be kind of decorated for them, but because of how decoration works in The Sims, it's not going to be particularly important at first. So at the moment we'll probably just start with basics as we try and get the foundation, because while we're doing all this building, we still have to get money, because we are not going to build the house that we need with 9,500 simoleons. It's just not going to happen. So, and the other thing to make the challenge even harder is they will all be working, and eventually they will all have different career tracks. I'm not specifically going to decide which track each one gets relates to their traits. It's going to be as it comes up, but eventually they will all have different career tracks, which means they will have they will not necessarily have the same carpool times. Some will be working nights, some will be working days, some may have be 9 till 5 all the way through the career. The others might be shift changes every time they get a new job, every time they get promotion. And what we are going to see is we're going to let things run, because we're going to be focusing more on trying to build the environment that they are in, rather than trying to control them. For essentials like getting them jobs and stuff like that, yes, I'll do controls, but in terms of like management of bathroom schedules, nah. So the idea is you've got to try and give them the environment where they can make it to the bathroom on time, where they eat, so that where they're satisfied with their food, where they've always got ways to have fun, and we'll just see how it goes. Because as you put more money into the house to build the environment and the exterior, their lives will generally improve. And then when they generally improve, you're able to do things like gain friends and skills, which in turn will increase them further along their career track, and so forth. The end point is basically to have the house done, if not fully decorated. After that point, I will assess how it's going and take it from there for the series. So, not really sure how long this is going to go. I mean, I'm going to call this here and take us back to the main menu to finish off this, so we can start a new episode. And I'll probably do one day an episode. So it'll be between roughly half-hour episodes, maybe a bit more, as they get more money and they get more stuff and their environment stabilizes. The episodes will be quicker. And in amongst all this, they get to meet and make friends with the rest of the neighbourhood, which, as you saw during the recap. So, I'm going to go back. Shall we save? I'm going to say that again. Let's go to the neighbourhood. They're there. See, there they are. One sim lane up there. You can't see because they ain't got any house. No house there. All the others there. Okay. And with that, I just want to say, if you like what you see in here, be sure to like, subscribe, share and comment. Please consider sponsoring me on Patreon. The link will be in the description. If you want to get hold of me and give me suggestions on what to do regarding The Sims, feel free to do so. In particular, let me know, because this is going to be a different style. Because it's a challenge family, we'll be focusing just on the challenge family. So you'll see the likes of Christina Freeman and Bella Goff and Bob Newby and Michael Batchelor come in and interact with the challenge family, but it will only be on the challenge family's lot for now. And so I want your feedback on whether you like that style. Would you prefer a more kind of soap opera shifting between the houses style like I did before, or whether there's any other type of challenge houses that you might want me to do? I've got a couple of ideas that I could do. So I'm really looking for your feedback on where you want this series to go, because there's a lot of room in The Sims for storytelling in various different ways, even at this bare bones beginning game, and the later installments and the later expansions are all basically built on these foundations. So it's interesting to see how they evolve, but also it's nice to be able to do different things. So let me know how you get on with this, and until next time, goodbye.